Hello everyone and welcome. I'm Rachel, the Modern Shaman, and I'm glad you're here with me for this week's Q&A video. If you're new to this channel, I would love for you to visit my website, which is themodernshaman.net. It is a wonderful resource for really all things that have to do with psychic development, shamanic awareness. If you'd like sessions with me here in my office in San Antonio, Texas, or online via Zoom, those are all available for scheduling on my online calendar on my website, as well as if you'd like training and further teaching. My masterclass teaching curriculum is available on the website, as well as the spiritual entrepreneurship program. So a lot of ways to connect with me. You can also send in your YouTube video questions on there in the comments form for the contact request. Okay. So we will get on to today's video question. This one came in from a viewer and it says, "Hi Rachel, my question is, how do I deal with made up arguments in my head? I've been catching myself in this process and spirit will clear this energy if I ask them to when I catch it. But I'm wondering if there is any way to permanently clear this energy so that it doesn't keep coming up. Thank you." Yeah, great question. What do we do when we want to stop ourselves from a thought habit or a negative energy pattern that we create within our head? So I want to pick apart your question a little bit. The first thing is that you said that these are mental arguments, so they're made up in your mind. And this is essentially our conscious creations in the thought plane, right? So other dimensional spaces are where we think in our imagination, our creativity, but this is a real dimensional space in terms of space-time. This is a conscious creation space known as the cosmic web, and our thoughts, when I see them in my clairvoyance, are like strings in a woven tapestry that play out, or notes in a symphony. And in the tapestry, it will visually show up and have an image like a holographic expression. And this is how we have our waking world. This is why our thoughts help create our life, because essentially those thoughts are like strings in the cosmic web, creating the thought patterns and forms that after a while, those patterns are woven into and connected to other patterns to create a visual interpretation of our life, right? This is what we see, this is what we get in the 3D. After a while of the repeated vibrational pattern, it becomes material. It percolates down into this dimension of materiality, and we have physical expression of those thought forms. So this is why they say thoughts are important, they have power. This is where we get the manifestation theories. This is where really all of that comes into play. So we want to be very conscientious about what we're creating and the patterns that are evolving in our thoughts. The reason I say pattern is because you say this keeps coming up. And I love that you've at least identified it enough to stop yourself in the moment and ask for that energy to clear. But energy clearing is separate, is a different technology than pattern recognition, which is similar to symbols, numerology. These are literally thought patterns. And just like our thoughts can be measured, if we are to measure our brain waves, okay, you are measuring the wave pattern, literally the little, imagine if you're looking at a sine wave or a brain wave, right? You are seeing it visually, just like the strings in string theory that is connecting through the cosmic web of consciousness all of those thought patterns together, and they're weaving in a little tapestry. Can you see these tiny woven strands to make an overall picture of what we holographically call your life? Okay, so So clearing negative energy is more like the debris. Okay, if you've ever seen a welder or even someone weaving, right, and they're using wool, we get debris, right? We get these little things that kind of come off, or a welder gets sparks. Any part of creation gets kind of like a foam or a fog or an energetic debris to the thought patterns themselves, to the energetic frictional interaction, right? Noise, so we might get this kind of frictional combustive reaction. So this is something different than clearing a thought pattern. So I'm going to separate those two things: the thought pattern that you're creating, which is the arguments you're saying you're having in your head, and the energy clearing of the debris of those arguments, okay? Because those are two different energetic technologies or metaphysical technology processes, and they're handled differently. Okay, so first let's talk about the thought patterns, because you can't just clear a pattern when it's woven in like this. Okay, glad I sit with this pillow. This is a perfect little visual representation. You can't just take your wand. I'm gonna get another visual. Excuse me, but you can't just take, this is my feather clearing tool, and just wash this away. You would literally have to cut the thought patterns or the threads of that string theory of strings that you've been connecting with the thought patterns in order to then brush them away or sweep away all of the cut strands. And when you cut that, you may cut the cords and go through a cord cutting process. You may sweep away or clear away the debris of those strands that have been cut, but then you also have to deal with the creation of a new pattern. And so this is my first suggestion: is when you are stopping yourself and noticing that you are having this mental argument in your head and you're creating this scenario in your head that's causing conflict or that you don't want to have anymore, right then I would start a new pattern. So create a new string and start weaving that through the storytelling. Storytellers are weavers. We know this in our shamanic community. Oftentimes they're called the spider women, or they're represented by a spider's web. Dreams are often dream weavers. They're essentially the storytellers that hold all of the strings of our thought patterns together to create, like I said, that holographic visual representation of the tapestry of those, each thought like a string, to create the pattern. So as you are weaving it together, you are going to essentially have to create a new story in that thought. So when it first comes up, for example, and you start an argument in your head with someone power tripping you, and they're telling you like, oh, that maybe this is a person of power, a teacher, a cop, a boss coming in, and they're saying something, and in your head you argue with them, or you stand up for yourself, or you do this. You may want to shift the pattern into a new string of thought where you visually see yourself like a king or a queen, someone in authority, sovereign authority, where you are in control of yourself and you are in control of your own kingdom, your own life here, right? Your own world is your own universe, your own experience. This is your kingdom. And you are the benevolent king or queen. And you may visualize yourself, instead of arguing with this person of authority like you would in the old thought pattern, instead you see them, you hear them rant, and you are like super peaceful and at ease, and your posture is just like a king or a queen in authority, but you are a benevolent king or queen in authority. You see yourself kissing their forehead, right where their third eye is, and you simply say, all is well. I will take care of this. I will handle it. And then there's like this moment of silence to where they recognize like, whoa, this is like my king or queen. Like they have all power. and they are at such a state of peace. And so you've shifted by creating a new pattern woven together with the storytelling, and you just simply reiterate it over and over and over. That's the pattern aspect. And when we vibrationally, with our thought patterns, really remember, thoughts are literally brainwaves going out into this conscious dimensional space, God, the cosmic web. And so when this is happening over and over and over, it begins to take materialization. This is how we manifest, right? But it has to be that pattern over and over and over. So you're going to want to come back to the same story, the same visual scenario over and over and over. Now, it may be woven a little differently, just like when we storytell, sometimes we lie a little bit, we embellish, we kind of dramatize. Essentially, that's what you're doing in your creation space when you are creating a new brainwave pattern and essentially shifting the energy from something negative and frictional. An argument has frictional energy like this, right? A negative and a positive source that have polarization, and they create frictional discharge of energy. Instead, when we move with this peace and we hold our sovereign energy in the argument, all is well, we essentially encapsulate, okay? So this is the womb space of the divine feminine, where as the source of the supreme creation, we essentially absorb all. So we take it all in and we say, all is well, I will handle this, I will take care of it. And the all is well is the energy of peace. It's kind of like, it's okay. And I'm giving my blessing. And as a benevolent king or queen, I can handle it and I can take care of it. But it's still within my own peaceful energy. So you're shifting the energetic debris also from, instead of being a frictional debris, it gives off this energy of peace and ease and grace. So that will in turn shift the energy clearing needed from that creative pattern. Okay? So now let's talk about the energy clearing aspect. This is kind of part 2 to your question when you said, can I do something to permanently clear this energy so that it doesn't keep coming back? You need to create the new pattern, okay? And also, as an energetic clearing process, I would create some sort of regular hygienic practice for yourself to just clear negative energy. Instead of like a once and for all, you're gonna have to come back to it. It's a lot like taking a bath, okay? You can't just say, well, I'm just gonna clean myself one time. Can I just clean myself one time and then I never have to clean myself again? I sound like my 10-year-old kid. She's like, I took a bath yesterday, and I'm like, honey, you just went and you worked out, you ran around, you played tag, you gotta bathe again. So the same is true for energetic clearing. Create a hygienic practice for yourself that you know that you will do, that you have time to do, whether it's in the bathtub or in the shower, something you're already doing regularly, where you take a moment and you set the intention that I want to clear any and all energetic debris from me as this water pours over me. Maybe it's fire. I'm pointing back here with my thumb to my saging. And this is just my practice, but maybe it's Palo Santo, maybe this is my Palo Santo here. Maybe it's sage that you light. Maybe it's a candle that you light, you put your hands over it and you kind of wash your energetic field. Maybe you like air, blowing some feathers. You can use even your own hands and clear your energetic field through like a cacophonous sound. So a sharp sound, drumming, but drumming in a way that kind of, or rattling, that shakes up and kind of breaks up any clogged energy. So there's a lot of ways for energetic clearing. I've got a lot of videos on it, and I would say use a modality that you feel like you resonate with. Okay, it doesn't have to be my way. It doesn't have to be somebody else's way. It needs to be a way that you feel like it works for you. So what gets you out of your funk? What kind of shakes you awake? A lot of times I like the physical, tactile things that I am engaged with because I believe it more. Some people like that in terms of ceremonial stuff. Like if I'm too relaxed, I'm not into it. And so I need to stand, I need to take a posture, I need to hold my sage, and I need to kind of do this gesture and say, I'm cleaning and clearing any dark, dense, and negative energy. May it all be gone now. Any residual energy from that thought process, I'm cleaning and clearing it now. My guidance to you is to have a practice and have a word that's effective with timing. When we carry the word now, we move that action into our present experience. And therefore, the cleaning and the clearing has the power of whatever is in your residual field at that time. So that's my guidance to you. First, work on the pattern, create a new pattern for yourself, and then have a hygienic practice of clearing energy for yourself for anything that's left over as residue. I hope this video was helpful to you. You guys send in your questions and I'll answer them next week with a new video. Blessings, you guys.